Start rolling.
Hey, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
You like sound bites?
Now you're making me hungry.
Well, I hope
you know I like sound bites. That's my whole...
That's your whole essence. That's your whole bane of existence.
That's my spirit. You know what I mean?
Oh, it is?
That's my whole spirit, Brent.
Well, if that's the case, Doug, I think that you would be really interested in a new app that was just released on the App Store called Racket.
Are you kidding me? What a coincidence. I love Racket. You know I use it. You know I'm on there at Doug Pound on Racket.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And you do sound bites?
You mean the app where you can share stories, jokes, audio content.
In bite-sized formats.
Yeah. How many seconds do you get per?
99.
Wow.
99 seconds of audio in the ear.
It's more like 99 seconds and the app ain't one, but the app is one. 99 seconds and the Racket is one.
That is what it is.
Doesn't make sense, but look, the app is called Racket. What else can you tell me about it, Brent?
Well, I mean, look, anybody could use it. You know, you don't have to be a podcaster. You don't have to be. You could be amateur. You can be professional. You could be whatever you want, and you could, exactly as you said, you could do whatever, any kind of audio content you want to do. You could put it on there. It's short form content, and it's all for your ears.
Yeah, and you could do, unlike screened apps where you have to look at it, you can just listen to it. And, I do like short form things, you know that. And Racket is the easiest way to record, share, and discover short stories.
It's
audio stories.
Straight like that.
Straight like that.
Straight like that. So
just look, Racket just landed on the App Store. RACKET.
That's right.
Head over to the App Store now and download Racket. And don't forget to follow us on Racket.
I'm Brent Weinbach on there.
I'm Doug Pound on there.
And it's also, I think you can go to bracket.com also.
You probably can. Yeah, so they are one of our proud sponsors, and it's a really cool app. I think they're onto something. It is fun. It's a fun app. There's all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of content.
It was the obvious step.
It's the obvious step.
I mean, we mentioned this later in the episode, but when people want to write stuff, put out little jokes or thoughts and stuff in writing,
free the fingers.
You don't even have to deal with that. You just record it. Boom, free the fingers.
Boom, free the fingers. Free the eyeballs.
Wow, that's a great slogan for that.
Yeah, free the fingers.
Racket.com.
Free the eyes too.
Free your eyes. Yeah, free your eyes.
Feed your ears, free your eyes, and free the fingers.
And free the fingers.
And so check out Racket on the App Store. And what else we got? Well, you know what else?
You don't know?
You like that dramatic pause?
Uh-huh.
People are like, wait, did it stop? Did my thing stop? No, we're talking about Louisville Vegan Foods, our other proud sponsor.
Yes.
Louisville Vegan Foods makes Louisville Vegan Jerky. And
they've got different flavors.
I've been gushing about this stuff for years now, and when I think about it, my mouth gushes with saliva.
Racket makes your ears gush.
What if your ears gushed? What if they if they salivated? When there's something you want to hear.
If there's something you like to hear, then it comes. Yeah, you start dripping from your ears.
If thinking about Racket is music to your ears, LouisvilleVeganFoods.com. It's flavors for your mouth.
Flavors. It's music to my mouth. I mean, it's not music. It's food to my mouth.
No, it's like music to the ears.
Food to the mouth.
Food to the mouth. It's food to the mouth.
This is food to my mouth. Louisville Vegan Jerky is food to my mouth.
Yeah, and if you want to, we have a special offer for Pound Pimples only at LouisvilleVeganFoods.com. You can use the code word Poundcast and get 20% off your entire order.
Wow, that's really something else, Doug. And look, this stuff, you know what else about Louisville Vegan Jerky?
What?
It's bagged in the United States.
What?
And it has a shelf life of 9 months.
That's right, Brent.
And they have loads of flavors.
And I just tested their flavor on their flavor scale It's off the charts.
Okay, very
I did
good.
a little home scientific test about the flavors.
Very good, Doug. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
So
You got to keep me away from the stuff because I'll eat the whole bag in 1 second.
you got to keep me away from the stuff because I'm gonna have swimmer's ear.
You know what?
Or swimmers. I don't know. Never mind. Actually, that's a racket.
I get eater's tongue when I think about Louisville vegan jerky.
Yeah, eater's tongue.
I get eater's tongue because I can't get enough of it. You got to keep me away from it.
I got eater's mouth.
Eater's mouth. LouisvilleVeganFoods.com. Or, sometimes you'll find it at the grocery store. I've seen it at Sprouts and Whole Foods. So it's out there.
I see it
They're
everywhere.
killing it right now.
I see it everywhere. I go somewhere, I see it. I think, oh, there they are again.
There they are again.
I went to the vegan ice cream place, Dear Bella, in Los Angeles. I see the Louisville vegan jerky right there.
Fountain.
I thought, hey, this is a vegan ice cream place. Why is there jerky here? But
maybe they put the toppings on the ice cream because
that could work.
That does work.
That could work.
I've actually tried it.
Now
It worked.
that could work.
That could work.
Now that could work.
Now today we have on the show Eugene Kotliarenko.
Yeah.
I even did it with a slight Russian accent. But he is my new friend. We met at Sundance. You're going to hear the whole story. He's a filmmaker. He's got 5 features under his belt. And
including a new movie called Spree
that's on Hulu right now. I highly recommend it.
It stars Joe Keery.
It's a fun film. And fun fact, I was watching that movie. There's a shot on my street. I was like, what?
Oh, there is?
Yeah, right on my block. I was like, we have too many things in common. I got to get this guy on the Poundcast. We brought him on, and he is a really fun person to talk to. And I had a blast on this episode. We could have talked to him all day. It's one of those.
But before we get to this episode, let's just mention real quick that...
I can't wait to hear what you're going to mention.
Really? You have no idea, don't you?
I don't.
If you would like bonus content from the Poundcast, you want to hear extended versions of the episodes.
Oh, because we keep talking to Eugene for
quite a while.
After the main app.
We talk about Rocky IV,
Oof.
Redux. Mm-hmm. Go to Patreon.
And he gives even more filmmaker hints at the end, doesn't he?
That's right.
Go to patreon.com/what?
Poundcast.
That's right, Brent.
And
that's a great way to support us because that's what's keeping this show chugging along.
Keeps us alive.
Keeps us alive.
And also, if you want to see video of a video version of the show, if that suits your fancy, but I don't know. Then again,
if you want to watch us in our new lighting,
for your eyes, I don't know.
For your eyes.
But if you want to if you want to imprison your eyes,
check us out.
If you want to imprison your eyes, go to youtube.com/thepoundcast.
That's right.
Okay.
That's how to imprison those eyes.
Imprison those eyes. And there's an Instagram account, which is the Poundcast, and Twitter, the Poundcast.
That's right.
Those are all our bases covered right there.
The bases are covered. And before we get talking to Huge, let's listen to a remix that one of our Patreon subscribers made.
Oh.
This is by Mitch Mitcherson from Discord. Because we are on Discord, you'll find that link in the chat. I do say...
In the descriptions.
In the description of this show.
In the chat. As if it was live.
Entered the chat. Mitch Mitcherson has entered the chat. But I do, whenever I say there's a guest coming, I'll go on Discord, I'll say, Eugene's going to be here. And I didn't even ask. Nobody had any questions for him this time. That's why I didn't even use that. And here's a remix of the Poundcast theme song by Mitch Mitcherson from Discord. He says, "This is my theme song remix. Not sure it is good enough to make the show, but figured I'd send her anyway."
What?
Thanks, man. Peace and love.
What?
Mitch, are you kidding me? This is really good.
Yeah, not good enough to make it to the Poundcast.
This is cool, man.
First of all,
this has got
it's good, and second of all, we'll take anything.
We have yet to get one that doesn't cut the mustard. We've never gotten one that's like, we're not going to play it.
The only one that would be that if it just had just very explicit hate speech in it or something like that. If it said something, they remixed it so it said Doug and Brent, and then they edited in somebody saying hate this group of people or hate this group
of people.
Hate this group
Doug
of people.
Brent.
Yeah. Doug and Brent hate this group of people.
Doug and Brent only care about themselves, or something like that.
Or it's just, Doug and Brent support, I don't know. Never mind. I don't want to get too dark. I don't want to get too dark.
No, we get it. This one's by Mitch Mitcherson. We're going to talk to Eugene. He's a great guy. He's my new friend, and can't wait to hang out with him. Not on a podcast one day.
It's just so funny. Someone made a remix that was just totally incriminating. It's just.
Well, now we're going to get those.
Right.
All right, let's roll the clip, and then we'll get talking to Gene or Huge. We're going to talk to Huge right after this.
All right, let's roll the clip.
Roll the clip. Welcome to, where's my camera? Poundcast, yeah! Welcome to the Poundcast. Here we are again, Brent. And we have the cool lighting today because it was such a hit from a few episodes back.
I'm in the dark.
Oh, no, look. We're both good. I asked you to wear the hat because I wanted to start off talking about the hat. Now, our guest today is, now I've never said your last name.
Try it. Do your best.
I have to look it up again, but it's Eugene Kotliatenko.
Yeah, Kotliatenko.
Is that right?
Nah, it's actually Kotliarenko.
Oh, Renko. Okay.
But that might be better, Kotliatenko. If I was like a
Kotliarenko.
If I was like a UFC.
Now say it in the Russian way.
I can't.
Why?
Well, actually, I did just see Rocky IV yesterday, so I will say it like kind of like Dolph Lundgren, like bad Russian, like Kotliarenko.
But you speak Russian.
I do. I speak Russian. Yeah.
You were speaking it in that movie.
Which one?
Wobble Palace.
Yeah, I did speak it, but any real like Russian person or person with like more than like a 3-year-old kind of like slow bus knowledge of Russian will think, wow, that person does not speak Russian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for an American,
your American accent is like there's no accent.
Hey, guess what? I'm a proud American. I love this country.
Are you an immigrant?
Your parents.
I am an immigrant.
Look at this.
But
our first immigrant.
Yeah, I'm naturalized. Yeah, I'm your first alien. You'll find amongst the people of this great land that immigrants appreciate and love the country more than the rest, more than you natives.
What? You know what? Some of us patriots, we appreciate it more than them.
Hey, you know what? In Rocky IV yesterday, Paulie, the Burt Young, not Paulie Shore, the Burt Young character, when they get to Russia and stuff, on the back of his jacket, there's a huge "Don't tread on me" snake patch. Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, this would be a beautiful place to die." Russia. Soviet Union, it was called back then. Yeah, that's where I was born.
Well,
Soviet Union.
What age did you come here?
Like 4.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. No, because you said you have a 3-year-old level of Russian or whatever, and I thought, maybe you came when you were 3.
Exactly,
but it was 4.
Exactly, so 1 year less. All the years here just.
It's
hanging
because of the time zone,
Yeah. I was gonna say it's from hanging with all the cool Americans and just like assimilating into our culture, wearing baseball caps and funky shirts. I lost a year of like Russian knowledge.
Do you remember anything from?
No, but I
Ages 1 through 4?
I did not. But I did go back for the first time ever a few months ago to Odessa, Ukraine, which is where I was born. You have? What the hell were you doing there? Sex tourism?
I wanted to check it out.
Oh, yeah. What'd you think? I mean, it
was cool. I went to the catacombs.
City. I didn't even do that.
I went to the World War II catacombs.
Wow, I didn't do that.
And there was the catacombs. They had World War II, these bunkers in there. And I don't know.
Catacombs of World War II sound like Ukrainian like Nazi collaborators, like where they killed all the dissidents and stuff. What kind of catacombs? I feel like when I hear catacombs, I think like over 1,000 years old. This sounds like a mass grave or something.
No, they used the catacombs as bunkers for during World War II. But also, I went to the
steps. So it's not for a cat. Is that like a comb for a cat?
Yeah.
I was like, why are you looking at those for?
Well, they're different in
So is a catacomb like a...
Sorry, it's a Ukrainian word. You wouldn't understand.
No, I know it. There's ones in like France and stuff, but it's just a pile of skulls in a basement.
That's what I'm imagining.
That's what a catacomb is?
No, it wasn't like that.
What is a
catacomb? You're thinking of like a bunker or
It was
something.
an underground thing. It was
you know
a
what?
cave, basically.
I saw on...
And I went to the steps of from Babsha Potemkin. I went to those, and I reenacted getting shot down on the steps.
That's cool. What about the baby carriage? Did you reenact that?
Yeah, I did it all.
A catacomb is an underground cemetery consisting of a subterranean gallery with recesses for tombs.
Remember
as constructed by the ancient Romans.
Beautiful. The ancient Romans, we do stand. Do you remember when people used to ask you questions and stuff like, what's a catacomb? And then someone would send you a thing like, why don't you Google that? You know?
Have you ever seen that?
And they send you the link.
And
like,
it looks,
why don't you Google that?
No, and it goes to. You ever see that website where it's like it animates like Google?
Yeah, let me Google that for you. Yeah,
let me
exactly.
Google that.
That's what I'm thinking. That's
okay,
exactly
let me Google that for you.
We're exactly on the same page.
I know exactly what that is.
Yeah. What year were you born?
60s. No, 70. I'm old. 70. I'm from the 70s.
So if you remember the same thing,
I forgot what year I'm born. 70.
You weren't even born.
75.
You were just created in the lab. So that's pretty cool, man. Because you're maybe like something like 10, maybe even 12 years older than me, and we know the same stuff. Now, I thought I was pretty cutting edge, but you remember the same Google, why don't we Google that for you animation as I do?
That's not that old.
That's pretty cool, dude.
That's not that old.
Well, I'm just saying for you to be on the cutting edge of knowing that when you were, 29, 30.
You were from Odessa?
Yeah, I was born there, exactly.
So you're not actually Russian.
I'm not Russian.
Ukrainian.
I'm Ukrainian, but it's what we call like a kind of like culturally Russian Jew.
Is it part of the USSR?
It was, for sure.
Yeah. See, so there you go.
It was
Soviet.
Soviet.
It was Soviet.
And what do they speak there?
Well, in
Ukrainian.
the Soviet Union, everyone was forced to speak Russian, but now, especially post-Crimea and the Civil War and Eastern Ukraine and stuff, everyone's super patriotic in Ukraine. You can not in Odessa, they were still speaking Russian, but like in other parts of the country, it's like super Ukrained out, which is fine. It's their culture.
By the way, is there a website called Ukraine where you watch cranes?
Yeah, that'd be nice. What about, ever see a flamingo, like a real one? It's a beautiful bird.
Yeah, those one-legged bastards.
Yeah.
What about flamenco?
You ever see flamenco in real life?
We're all over
That's
the
a beautiful
place
dance.
Right now. I love it.
Well, but it also sounds kind of like your last name.
Really.
But
yeah.
Also,
wow, that would be good. Kotli flamenco.
Yeah, Kotli flamenco.
That would give me a little bit of a spice. When I was before I moved out here, I wanted to be like a big director or whatever. And I told my friends back east, I said, I should change my name and have one of these classic director names.
What do you mean back east?
Well, because
Ukraine East,
I grew up in New York and I went to college.
You wanted to be the next Sergei Eisenstein.
Something like that. So actually, I went to college in New York, and so before I moved out here, when I was 21, I said, I'm going to change my name to Von Cloud, Eugene Von Cloud with a K. Kind of like keep the K from Kotliarenko, but go to Von Cloud. And then everyone at the time, this was maybe like 2007 or something, they were like, that's too much like Von Dutch. I was like, no, it's like von Sternberg, von Stroheim.
Wait, who's the guy from the 20s, von Stroheim?
Yeah, von Stroheim and von Sternberg.
Von Stroheim.
Joseph von Sternberg and Eric von Stroheim. And so I wanted to go with that vibe. And
von Stroheim, that's the one you want to be like.
I actually love Joseph von Sternberg. He's the one who worked with Marlene Dietrich, and he made some super gaudy, like Baroque maximalist movies with like cool moves and like really crazy, like immoral sexual things happening. So he's actually one of my heroes, Joseph von Sternberg. Eric von Stroheim, he's cool. He's the one who also acts in Sunset Boulevard. He had his career in the 20s. He made Greed, which is one of the great lost movies.
Yeah, I saw him in...
He's the butler in Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
And her former director. That's what's so cool about it. Spoiler alert to Sunset Boulevard. You find out as you go that her butler, who handles her, is also the guy who gave her start in the silent films. And he too is
We talked about that last episode.
Really?
That movie.
Really? Well, this episode we're going to talk about Rocky IV Redux. Just came out
yesterday. Let's get into the hat. Because I told you to put the hat on before we started because it's got some piercings on it.
Yeah, it's sexual. I took them straight from my cock and put them right on the hat, these piercings, just for the show, so I could show them off. What is your question about the hat?
I don't know. I just want to know, did you pierce it yourself or what's up with
Yeah,
it?
no, I went to a professional tattoo and piercing place. No, here's the deal with the hat.
That'd be
Actually, really funny.
That'd be cool if you could go to a piercing place and have them pierce not body stuff.
Or a tattoo place and get tattoos on stuff that's not your skin.
Yeah.
Imagine paying all that money for stupid little objects like a hat. Like,
Maybe you're balling. And you're like,
maybe you
pierce
are a
my
baller.
hat.
I think that's a good compromise.
Guess what? Please cut that previous part, and I want just to go this. I'm such a baller. I went to get this hat pierced. No, the thing about the hat is, so I just said I went to like Odessa for the first time since I left there in 1990. My family left there in 1990. I went traveling for the first time. I was like, you guys maybe watched some of my films. I was extremely destitute and like pouring my entire life into just making these like, humble movies. And so I never left town. I never traveled. And then suddenly, like 6 or 7 months ago, I married a European woman. And part of that beautiful marriage and love, which quickly dissipated, was going to Europe. And so then when the marriage very quickly fell apart in Europe, I said, well, I'm already here. Might as well travel a bit. So one of the places I went to besides Odessa was Milan. And in Milan, I found a beautiful lace cap that then got melted by the sun because it was just plastic and lace. And then I tried to replace it by going to what they call they're called their 99-cent stores, like a Chinese store. So I went to the Chinese store, and in Brescia, Italy, I found this hat.
Oh, so, that makes sense. That it's Italian.
It kind of seems Italian. Yeah.
One time I saw this guy on the street,
gaudy.
And he was wearing this mesh shirt.
Yep,
and
I bought mesh shirts there too.
Oh yeah, well my friend said, hey, where'd you get that your shirt? Yeah, because it looked really 80s, right?
Yeah,
but this older man was wearing this mesh. I mean, the guy was probably in his 60s, and
hot.
he was wearing. And he was
hot.
He was very thick, and he had this mesh shirt. And we thought, where'd you get that shirt? And he said it like this. He went, Italy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he said.
Exactly. And
he had a by the way, I think he had a Russian accent though.
Because if he was an Italian guy in his 60s, I was thinking maybe he had pierced nipples. Then would really bring it full circle.
Yeah, it would have been really good. But I'm just saying they have funky stuff in Italy.
They have beautiful stuff. Yeah, no, I liked it there. I would move there. You know, they got no problems in that country. That country's like a paradise on earth. Yeah, they got 0 problems. Beautiful.
Are you being sarcastic?
I don't know. The beautiful food.
Because remember when they were the first country to have the COVID problem. The big problem.
Milan, where I was. That's where it was. You know what they found though? The guy, patient 0 for like Italy COVID, is like this super social guy who like had a family, 3 mistresses, was like a soccer coach, was like a driving instructor, and the day that he like spread it all around, he did like all the things. He like fucked his wife, fucked the mistress. Yeah, banged all his gumas, and like he like taught, he like had a soccer meetup with the little kids, and then he like taught his driving course and stuff. Really funny. Patient 0. Yeah.
Wait, so back up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm backing up. So the hat, can I take it off now?
Yeah,
please.
Yeah,
I need that beautiful lighting. I'm ready for my close-up,
I want you to be comfortable.
Jamil.
Yeah.
So you married how did you meet this wife?
We just started talking on IG, Instagram.
Okay. So your life kind of parallels maybe your character in
some of these movies, yeah.
Well, you described them as personal projects, but did you mean personal in that they're based on kind of in some ways your life, or personal in that these were just sort of passion projects that you made? Those two romantic comedies. Basically.
Both, yeah. So Wobble Palace and A Wonderful Cloud, and actually some of the other movies too. Like if you're making a small movie, for any aspiring filmmakers out there, if you're making a small movie and you basically have no money, but you do want to like give it some thrust, some energy, some authenticity, and some freedom, just incorporate your life as comically and exploitatively as you can. You know, make fun of things that you have deep knowledge about. Figure out which friends of yours are hot/smart and put them in it, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I saw Wobble Palace Okay, so for the listeners, you're a filmmaker.
I'm a filmmaker.
How many features have you made?
5.
Pretty impressive.
If they're good.
Very impressive.
If people
that's
think
very
they're
impressive.
Good.
I mean, that's just a big accomplishment to make a feature. And I watched okay, let's back up.
Yeah, back it up.
So I met you at Sundance in 2020, right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah,
basically.
I walked up to you at an Indian restaurant. I said, hey, man, I'm a fan.
I was like, oh, great. I'm trying to eat dinner. What do you want?
Yeah, you know, you looked like you were kind of maybe even on a date or something.
I kind of was, but it turns out I was not.
Yeah. Friends.
Oh, you thought you were on a date?
Well, it was like...
It was unclear. I just couldn't... Look,
it was funny. It was unclear to you. It was unclear to him, too.
Exactly. That is funnier that it was unclear.
You guys are on the same
Well, it's funny because I had a friend I met on Instagram.
We keep saying it's funny, but it might not actually.
No, I met a friend on Instagram.
Yeah,
And she was very flirty with me. And she was like, I'm working at Sundance. I said, I'll be there.
Yeah.
And then we met, like... at the Feels Good Man thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then
that's the Pepe movie. Pepe
yeah,
doll.
and then we were like,
should we get dinner?
Yeah, let's get dinner.
Yeah, normal.
And then at dinner, she's like, well, I have a boyfriend. I'm
right.
like, okay,
Love
well,
it when that
date.
hammer drops.
I was like, that's fine. Because, like, I mean, what am I going to do? Date you? You live over here?
The very casual, I have a boyfriend hammer. We love to hear that one as guys. But hey.
And I was like, I would totally do a long distance relationship.
Yeah, you're like, what?
And I'm like, as soon as she said, I'm like, what am I going to date someone in Utah?
Oh my God, I just got
No, it turned out perfect because I love having girlfriends that aren't, there's no
strings attached.
There's
literally nothing attached.
Well, there's no
just friendship. It's
like there's no option for.
Right. You mean when you say you love having girlfriends, you mean friends that are girls?
Friends that are girls.
Yeah.
I like having friends that are girls.
Not in the schoolboy
And there's
way.
no sexual tension.
Of course.
Because
not on the table.
Well, there could still be.
There still could be.
Ever heard of adultery?
Since it's you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. Hey, look, my films, a lot of them are about relationships. So navigating.
I just like having girl friends that are friends, and it's like that's how it's going to be.
Beautiful, of course. Look, we all need.
Because then once you get into that thing where you're trying to get to know someone, then it gets kind of weird, and you don't act like yourself.
Yeah. I'm finding it hard to act like myself on this show. Does that mean we have sexual tension, or that you guys are girls? Which does it mean? No.
Okay. You came up to me.
I came up to you.
And then, so what happened was, I was like, oh, cool, you have a movie here. Like, I think I took your number down.
Yeah.
And I said, maybe you should come on my Poundcast or something. Maybe at that restaurant or
maybe just like, let's hang out in L.A.
Right, hang out in L.A.
I told you I'm a fan, I don't know how many people
when you're in
walk up to
Sundance, you're meeting a lot of people.
Yeah. People ever walk up to you and be like, I'm a fan?
Flash forward to, like, a month ago. And my friend, Miwa, do you know Miwa?
Yeah, she's like a photographer.
Yeah, another friend that's a friend.
Yeah, cool.
Another girlfriend.
That's
another girlfriend.
Super cool and sophisticated of you. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. And she was like, she just brought it up, your movie Spree. She's like, you got to watch this movie Spree. I loved it so much.
Wow, really
my
nice.
friend Eugene,
you,
I know the guy that made it, this guy Eugene.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then
We've really only met one time.
Yeah, and then I watched it, and then I'm watching the credits, and for some reason your name... I was like, I know that name. And I looked at my phone. Your name's in my phone. I'm like, what the hell?
What the hell?
And then I texted you. I'm like, hey, I just saw Spree.
Yeah, that was really
nice. And then you said
text.
you're in Wisconsin or something.
Mexico.
What were you doing? Same thing.
My friend had an art opening, and I've never been to Mexico City, and like it's the sort of thing, like I was saying, like I never traveled, and everyone's always like, Mexico City, it's so close, it's only like a few $100. I'm like, I don't have a few $100, and it's like really nice, really cool. And so finally it was just this moment where I could go. And so then I had also recently been to London, and I fell for someone there, and I said, oh, by the way, my marriage dissolved, if that wasn't clear.
It was.
Okay, wait, so you met her on a... Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the marriage.
I got married
You met her... Where is she from?
You got married on Instagram.
I got married on Instagram, exactly.
Then got divorced on TikTok.
Yeah, this sounds delusional, pathetic.
There's that
and
new tab.
All levels
There's
lame.
that new tab. It's like...
Yeah, exactly. The story, the real, or the
and
marriage.
Then the marriage.
Yeah. It's cinema mode on your new phone, marriage mode. We got married. She lives in Vienna, Austria. My ex, her name's Sophie, and we. But she lived here for a long time. And what happened? We went to Vegas. She came to visit during COVID. She's a Austrian and American citizen, so she's
a COVID wife.
She could come. She was my COVID wife and my COVID divorce ex-wife, and she came out here. And I said, "Oh, you're gonna be here during Valentine's Day. Why don't we go to like Vegas or something?" And she's like, "I've never been to Vegas." I said, "Cool, let's do it. Let's shoot some there. Let's make a music video there or something." She said, "Why don't we get married there?" I said, I don't know if we should get married in Vegas. I mean, we really just met like.
How long did you know her before she said get married?
Well, we had really only been hanging out like 6 or 7 days.
Wow.
IRL.
I'm sorry. Who brought it up? The marriage?
She did.
She did.
And then I was like, I don't know if we should like. and then she was like, well, what about like Elvis or like Frank Sinatra?
That'd be funny if she said
Frank Sinatra, Britney Spears. All these cool people got married in Vegas real quick. I said, that's a good point. And then
she said, don't be a pussy.
Kind of, that was the vibe. And also the vibe was like, well, I don't want to hurt her feelings by saying no. So I should probably just say, yeah, it seems like it could be pretty fun. And it was fun, and we had a great trip, and we had a great time. And then whatever, then she went back to Austria, and I was like, I got to go to Austria to hang out. She came to New York, but blah, blah, blah. We were trying to make it work.
Wait, I'm sorry. You got married, but we're not going to be living in the same together.
Exactly. We didn't have any
so you got married in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And then she went back to Vienna to live in Vienna.
Yeah, we hung out for another 3 weeks, and then she went to go back to Vienna.
And those 3 weeks were good?
Yeah, everything's good. At the beginning of a relationship where everything's like awesome and you're completely ignoring all red flags because it's like really good.
What red flags did you?
I don't know.
Hindsight.
Who knows? Okay. Probably the fact that I'm not suitable to be in a relationship with. Things like that. My own red flags. Yeah.
You're quite the. You're like a romantic guy then, huh? You're just falling for chicks all over the world, worldwide.
Well, it is weird, so now
worldwide gigolo.
London, Vienna.
Yeah. Deuce Bigelow, World International Gigolo. No, I'm like really excited and nervous about this relationship I just got into because it's like another.
You're in the one in London.
Yeah, exactly. It's like another long distance relationship. Actually, so there's a movie I made before Wobble Palace called Wonderful Cloud about exes who are friends, and that's starring Kate Sheil and myself and some other nice LA people. And that was based on the fact that we were together for a short period of time. And there's a movie I made 5 years earlier called Skydiver, which is all through Skype conversations and GChat video, if you remember such a thing, and other sort of video proto-Zoom teleconferencing things. And that movie is about a long-distance relationship I was in with that same actress, Kate, and how she broke up with me and my character becomes a domestic terrorist. So I actually have a long history, I guess, of these, doomed to fail long distance relationships. But we're rooting for the one now. We're rooting for the new one. We got to knock on wood.
This one's gonna work.
Give it up for London.
Yeah. That'd be cool actually if the girl's name too was London.
Well, the whole city because she lives in that city.
No, but it'd be also cool if her name was
both.
London.
Yeah,
who lives
both.
in London. In the new movie, for instance, Misha Barton is in Spree, and she plays a character named London.
That's right.
That's a real type of name.
That's right.
In what movie?
Spree.
In Spree, yeah.
Oh, in Spree, she plays London.
Yeah, London.
Right. How did you get all these big stars in this movie?
Well,
I mean, for you claim to be this struggling director, but you have these big stars.
Yeah, exactly. That's
they took all his money. Now he has broke.
No, well, the first four movies, the budget was anywhere between like that Skype movie, which is a feature film. There was no budget.
So real quick on a tangent, the Skype thing. It sounds like you were way ahead of the trend. Like that
was 2010.
Yeah, because we had someone on here who did a movie during quarantine.
Host
all on Zoom.
Yeah.
And you did one 10 years ago.
Yeah, I did two actually. That one was like Host, a screen capture movie, which was really cheap. Like doesn't take anything to do.
So how much? Okay,
do
back
that.
up. Sorry.
And then
back to your story. So that cost how much?
$0.
Zero.
Well, I don't know. I guess I had to drink water out of the tap, but I'm paying LADWP.
You probably had to pay Google $1.99 per month.
No, you didn't.
Oh, it's free.
For what?
I don't know.
Extra in 2010? No, I didn't pay shit.
I'm just kidding.
I guess I had to pay my rent for like half of the month, so I could not do things. But no, the other movie I made that time is called Zeros and Ones, and that's all.
I kind of skimmed through that. I skimmed through that. Not just because I wanted to get a sense.
Right?
Yeah, I wanted to get a sense of. I didn't have time to watch all your movies, but I wanted to get a sense of it. But that has Matty Carter-Roppel in it and Morgan.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Morgan Krantz's star, and then Matthew. Wow, he's such a nice, sweet, silly guy.
We know those people. At least I do. I don't know. But,
okay.
Yeah.
I know Matty. Actually, one time at Sundance, I shared a hotel with him. It was like 5 guys sleeping on the floor.
He's an unbelievably sweet guy, and he has become, since we made that movie, I feel like one of those like that guy that you're always seeing in like the background of a movie. Like he was in Jurassic World.
He was in Stranger Things, which has Joe Keery, who stars in Spree.
What did I see him in recently? Oh, Free Guy.
I didn't see Free Guy.
Free Guy. He plays like a vlogger, like a gamer vlogger, pretty sure. So Zeros and Ones, that movie that Maddie and Morgan are in and stuff, that's also a computer movie where like every scene looks like it's told from a desktop OS, and like, you know, there's like, if you saw like a fake Facebook and fake Google search, and actually there's a high school reunion party, and like my big high concept thing was like the high school reunion is going to look like AOL. So like to get into the party, you like log on, and then you're doing like shotgunning a beer and like the fucking buffering mode, and then like walking to the party is like a tracking shot, and it's like a buddy list with like away messages. But you have to kind of see it. It doesn't.
All of your movies seem to heavily employ
screens and stuff.
Technology and a digital interface that that's associated with it.
I think that has kind of colonized and taken over our consciousness, our understanding of screens, like phones and computers have. And so I'm really interested in exploring that language to make cinematic, you know, situations and tell like narrative 90-minute stories the way that we get off on in movies, but through a kind of new visual language, if I can do it.
Ones and Zeros and Spree, they both have a lot on lot on screen at once, and you have to sort of this is probably not the way that you wanted people to watch it.
No, it is.
I was rewinding to watch stuff again.
So in Spree, he's the character is live streaming a lot of the movie.
The whole movie.
The whole movie is found footage.
And
but it's a live stream. It's not just like a traditional found footage film, right?
You're seeing you're reading the people who are commenting.
I wanted to read all the comments. So I would
like that seemed really difficult.
I have to ask about that. I want to ask about that. But before I say that, I just wanted to say that it reminded me a lot of where there's so much on screen that you can't get everything from one viewing. So that's why I was going back. But it really reminded me of the movie Time Code. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, sure. The Mike Figgis film.
Yeah, and there was just the sort of thing where there's all this stuff going on. And that Ones and Zeros, I think you said that you had 5 cameras running at the same time on that. So it was kind of similar to that in that sense. Anyway, but what I want to ask about the commenting and stuff on all that stuff, who did all that?
I did that.
How did you did you use a screen name generator to come up with all the screen names?
I came up with done in After Effects, like
I didn't animate it. This Trevor Clifford, my warrior in the trenches, with me on that, animated it. He was like, we brought him on, and we think this will take like a week.
Oh, should
we go back even further? Spree is a movie about a rideshare driver who wants to go viral and decides to live stream himself killing his passengers.
Yeah, so it's like a horror.
It's a comedy,
black comedy.
Dark comedy. Satire. I call it a satire.
And he has cameras set up, in his car. 5-6 cameras in his car, but the whole movie is a sort of found footage film, in that it's. I mean, I won't even say.
Well, that's like a big twist. That's like
I want to say, but there's just it's all footage that was shot on something that security cameras or or someone else's phone.
Backup cameras.
When you're watching it, you feel like it's a live stream, and then at the end, you actually realize it's like a reconstruction of a live stream. Essentially.
Well, that's what. Yeah, I mean that's what. Yeah. Oh, were we allowed to say that?
Well, it's fine. I ruined
it. Basically, the idea is that it's just. Yeah, I mean, all found footage films are the filmmaker found this footage and they edited it together to make a movie, basically.
But see, I wanted to also like synthesize it with the other thing that I had kind of been working on since whatever my first movies, which is this kind of like desktop screen, sort of contemporary screen language that I've been trying to like work through. And I realized no one really uses computers anymore. So when I saw, for instance, a movie like Unfriended 2, I was like, why are they like on their computers when everyone's just on phones all the time? And so I was like, I should make a phone movie. And so this is like my kind of opportunity or my attempt to like update this thing that I was interested in 10 years ago.
And did you shoot it on phones?
Yeah, all on iPhones and GoPros.
Yeah.
And mostly on GoPros for the car, and then really on. But it's funny because these cams aren't designed for filmmaking, so like the GoPros would like crap out after like 20 minutes of driving around. So we'd have basically 1 to 3 takes depending on the scene, and then the cameras would crap out, and then we regroup.
So
I mean, it was really fun. It was like making Jaws or something, because we had these routes, and then like the whole like small tiny team is in a van following. Then there's like another van that has like the art department and the costume, and then there's just Joe driving the car. Like I would say 60 to 70% of the time, he was legit driving and acting. It wasn't like on a trailer.
How do you direct him?
I have a walkie-talkie, and he has one hidden in the car. And when we're close enough, which is maybe half the time, there's an antenna on top of the car, and there's a monitor in my van, and we're all watching, like me and the producers and stuff.
Going back to the screen names and everything.
Yeah.
So there's all this live chat that's happening as you watch this, and there's people other people are watching.
It's like a Twitch
chatting. It's like a Twitch stream,
and it gets
or
bigger and bigger
Live,
as the movie goes. You get more viral and viral.
But there's so many screen names and so many comments and chat comments. It seemed. I just thought, how did you write all those comments? I mean, there's tons of them.
Just time. So I had definitely some help from the social media kind of whiz on that movie.
Trevor.
Honor. Her name's Honor Levy. She also was the one.
Honor?
That's
Our
Nezo.
Honor?
No, that's Nezo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. No, Honor. She's great. She's a great writer and like one of my best friends. And she was also one who came up with the idea of the Draw My Life thing that kind of opens up the montage that opens up the movie, where he does I was like, I want to help Joe get into character. We were doing vape reviews and stuff. And she's like, well, you guys should do a Draw My Life. I'm like, what's that? She's like, it's like this funny thing where people like summarize their entire life on like a whiteboard. And then we watched a bunch, and there's literally stuff in there. It's like, like my mom died, and then like I spilled a milkshake or whatever, these people getting really emotional about things like on the exact same like platitude, and a few of them mention 9/11, which is why like I think it's funny for him to mention, like there's a few reasons why it's good that he mentions 9/11 at the beginning of the movie.
Speaking of,
this is going to make no sense for people who haven't seen the film, so you have to in order for this puzzle box,
Hulu.
In order for this puzzle box to be unlocked,
it's free on Hulu right now.
Yeah, Spree, on Hulu.
Did you say free on Hulu?
It's free on Hulu.
Spree is free on Hulu.
But speaking of being kind of true to real stuff, those comments were very spot on too. They just the kinds of comments that
I had
people
Twitch
make,
open on screen. While I had the spreadsheet. Excel spreadsheet, and while I had Premiere open, I also had Twitch open. When I was in those are late night sessions. That's literally me after a day of editing or after the edit was done from like 8 p.m. to like 4 a.m. writing all that stuff for probably 6 weeks, something like 40 days. 40 nights.
That seems like such an undertaking. I mean, to just have all these unique chatters.
And the thing is, so remember the beginning of Wobble Palace, where it's like I wanted to summarize like how a relationship goes from like good to shitty.
I want to
just
ask
through
about
text
that
messages.
Too. Yeah. So the opening scene is just an
Scrolling
iPhone
through.
screen scrolling through and going back
to the beginning of the relationship.
I like how it starts like green text.
Green text,
too.
exactly.
Like,
She
had an Android at first. I was like, that's a funny little touch.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's a funny detail. I didn't know that.
And then it shows like in the beginning, it's like, hey, in the beginning,
you know what green to blue means?
No, I wouldn't know.
In the beginning,
I don't know. Yeah.
In the beginning, they're all excited to see each other,
Exactly,
and
to
then it
meet each
goes
other's
like down,
flirty.
and then you're scrolling past like nudes and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So
Like,
the
really
one thing
quick.
that made me upset, and Dasha Nekrasova and I, she's like the lead actress now.
She's in
and
Succession too.
She's on Succession now, and she since then, she's had an amazing career because she started a super successful podcast called Red Scare, and she's also like one of my best friends and like an amazing person, and it was fun to make that movie with her. But
Best friends, a girlfriend?
Did you date in real life?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
No.
Did you get married?
Not yet.
That's funny. Did you date? No. Did you get married? Yes.
Yeah, we got married. Duh. I wanted to fudge, and she's super tradcath, so we had to get married first, and then it didn't work out before we fudged. No, that's all fake, as you can tell from my funny little voice I was doing. So look, I after we shot the movie, maybe like a few months later, I came up with that opening, and I said, "Will you come over to my house and we'll make these texts?" And it took us forever to like actually text each other because I had to, and she was getting frustrated, and we had to come up with them, and and there's probably in there like something like 500 texts or something.
A lot.
So at a certain point, she kind of gave up, and I kind of gave up. And so if you pause it, maybe 10 to 20% of the text are gobbledygook.
I was pausing because
did they make sense for you?
Well, they did.
Yeah,
I mean, I paused a ton, but what? Well, the thing is his movies have all this stuff in it where you can easily miss it if you don't pause. Yeah. And maybe that's not how you want. Maybe you want people just to wash over people like, oh, all these comments.
No pause button at the movie theater.
It's both of the things. So like, Zeros and Ones, right? That first movie that's like super just like roided out on screens and 5 cameras and whatever, Game of Solitaire and Google search and whatever. That took me 3.5 years to make.
Yeah, wow.
And the initial idea that was like about overwhelming the audience and kind of almost like exhausting them like with the fucking maximalism of all the screens. But as I was doing it, it's a little bit like a comedy, like a visual comedy, right? Where visual gags are always about timing. I mean, all comedy is really just about timing, right? And you want to be able to make sure that your joke or your information lands at the exact right moment. And there are ways to do that, right? You use motion, or you use a bright color, or you make something center frame, or you have, kind of lines of guidance in your composition that guide people's eyes to important information. So in working on that movie so long, it really made me aware of how you can control viewers' attention. So with something like Spree, you do both things simultaneous, right? There's 7,000 comments. So basically, after the Wobble Palace thing, I had total regrets about like those maybe 50 texts that didn't make sense if you paused it. So I want to make sure.
I didn't notice it. I did pause.
That's cool.
I didn't pause
that makes
all
me
the
happy.
time. I didn't try to see every single one, but I did pause and I saw it. And I thought, wow, these are all.
Well, maybe I'm a little.
Out,
I think I'm happy that I was hard on myself about it, even though you felt like it was fine. Because for Spree, I was like, I want every single fucking comment in this movie to be perfect. I want it to be like a chorus of different voices. To everyone have like you can imagine who all these different people are in the way that they're trolling or into it or being like autistic or being like funny. And so anybody who stops that movie at any point, every single fucking comment makes total sense. And I'm proud of that, even though it was like kind of like a grueling hell to do.
I thought, is there some sort of generator that was used to make these comments, or a bot that was made?
No,
to use
I'm the bot.
It's so crazy.
I'm the bot. There's a little bit of, Trevor for the comedy scene. I think Trevor wrote a lot of it because it was really complicated. Because the comedy scene is one of my favorite set pieces in there. The stand-up scene.
El Cid.
At El Cid, exactly.
Is that what that was?
That was our first day of shooting too, and it was one of the biggest days because we had like 50 extras.
I spotted. I thought the stage and the thing looked familiar, and then there was the bar section where I said, "Oh, that's definitely El Cid."
Right? So that to me was one of my favorite set pieces to write because I wanted to be like the Hitchcock kind of like Man Who Knew Too Much thing, where you're like that Kurt is there. So this scene is shot. Because Jessie, the character, her whole tagline is like, all eyes on me, I want to be seen. So you have to take your phones out, right? Yeah. So Kurt, who's been for the last 70 minutes streaming the movie on his phone and the GoPros, is amongst the crowd. And now you're cutting between the just random spectators who are there to like live stream and enjoy, and Kurt, who's trying to kill her. I mean, there's no spoiler, but trying to kill her. And so you generate this tension through all of the different intercutting between the different perspectives of the, people who are now organically live streaming. And it was just a really complicated thing to execute. So Trevor was like, Eugene, it's going to be easier if I like kind of like, just give me like 300 comments, but I'm going to generate like who's on what screen and when and where. Because before, generally speaking for the film, I like told them exactly when, and like which ones and all that.
I just realized one part of the movie that isn't found footage is is the digital interface of the apps and stuff, so or whatever. Well, right? I mean, or is there a reasoning to how that could have been?
Yeah,
captured?
no. The reasoning is in the opening for Kurt. You mean for the main one? He said, and if you pay for the premium stream, you can see how I'm choosing angles. So he was doing a stream where you have access to his phone. The actual screen grab of his
screen grab of his phone.
Of his phone.
Okay,
that's why you can see all the comments.
I missed that. Yeah, but
no, don't worry. All of the I don't know about the character-based suspension of disbelief, but the technology-based suspension of disbelief is completely accounted for.
That's cool.
And with that movie, with the script, how to the script was like all the dialogue and the monologue and everything?
The scenes and stuff are pretty close. The opening scene was not that montage of the Draw My Life. That was something we came up with in the edit, which I think is a really good opening because it's kind of like the Wobble opening that it summarizes his life up until that point through the medium that he is, that the film is obsessed with. Just all his unsuccessful videos and like how much of like a loser he is and how hard he's trying and stuff. And then the ending, there's a few different little shifts in the ending. Originally, the way he dies is different and
spoiling.
Oh God, cut that, please, Aaron, please. Whatever. Who knows? There could be sequels, prequels and stuff.
Oh,
I had a question about Wobble Palace.
Yeah.
So you're in it.
I'm in it. Yeah, playing a character named Eugene.
I gotta say, you when I read your description of it, it was sort of like this Woody Allen style anti-rom-com. And what?
Eric Romer, right?
Yeah, a bunch of them. But you're gonna say Woody because like he's an actor in the movies or whatever.
Well, he's kind of playing. You play a guy called Eugene. You're playing kind of yourself, but you're also like very. This is something Woody Allen-esque about your character.
Yeah, I'm trying to make fun.
You're very charming and like, kind of like obsessed with chicks and like sort of like really like, your character in the movie.
The character in the movie is obsessed with chicks.
So why did you?
It's a huge leap for. It's like I had to study 10 months with Tony Greco to get there. Yeah.
So is it? What's up with? And you're nude in it a little bit.
A little bit. I'm not like.
There might be a couple frames of peen.
I'm kind of like the Harvey Keitel of my friend group.
I paused on the peen, and that's the one thing I did rewind on.
I saw the penis. No, when you sit on the toilet in the beginning of the movie, you see the penis, your penis.
You will see my penis more in A Wonderful Cloud, if that is something you guys are interested in. And Skydiver. Actually, someone just DM'd me in the general section of Instagram, where it's like not someone you're friends with. They're like, yo, bro, is that really your cock in Skydiver? Because in that movie, the Skype movie, there's like a scene where I'm like dealing with the breakup. So like I dealt with the breakup the only way I knew how. And then I get a phone call from like the kind of terrorist recruiter guy while I'm like jacking off, and it's funny. I'm like, so yeah, what do you think? Like,
oh wow. So you show the penis in hand.
And it was.
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of like the lighting here. It's a little bit in shadow, a little chiaroscuro,
Is it difficult to direct a movie when you're in it so much?
It can be, but I actually find it like, so in Zeros and Ones, I'm not in that. And then basically every single movie I made after that until Spree, I am in. Mm-hmm. And I found that it was way easier to direct actors if I'm in the scene, because one, I can help control the rhythm and flow of the scene just naturally without giving any sort of criticism or feedback. Right. And two, it just feels more like, obviously, like explicitly collaborative if you're like there and you're taking the hits.
And also it's easier to direct yourself because you know exactly what you want to do.
That's why, look, we had no budget, so that's obviously why I didn't. We wouldn't be able to get like, really like good, high level, good actor that I could just find, So it's like, look, no one's going to do this better than me at this point. So it's kind of like a resource financial thing to like put myself into movies, but it's fine. It works.
A very similar experience when making Mind Jack. Mind Jack. Mm-hmm. That we were trying to find an actor for this. There's this video I made called Mind Jack.
Cool.
It's a series of videos, and we auditioned people, and it was really hard to find somebody. And I thought, and we wanted a buff kind of guy who was, this dominant kind of mysterious buff guy. And then I thought we couldn't find the guy. And I thought, you know what?
Did you guys try Vin Diesel?
I should have. We should have called him.
Yeah.
But I thought, you know what? Let's reimagine this character and make it so that it's somebody I can play, and we'll just have a guy wearing khaki pants and a button-up shirt. And then in the end, I was so glad I decided to do it myself, because it was so much easier to control the situation when I was doing it, and I didn't have to worry about. It was just another factor or part. There was a lot of moving parts, right?
100%.
And it was one part that I didn't have to worry about as much if I was going to do it myself. I didn't have to worry about that. I just had to worry about other things. So anyway, I'm saying I think it might be easier sometimes if you're acting in your own, thing.
It definitely, there's advantages and disadvantages. I mean, you obviously can't watch the scene as it's happening. So on a visual level, you have to have really good communication with your cinematographer about like what exactly is the focus of this take. And those movies, we shot those in 7-8 days. So we really just do one or two takes for each setup and then move on. Yeah.
Because
Clint Eastwood style.
I mean, the first, not the very first scene, but the scene where the girl comes over for your date.
Yeah.
The photographer.
Paige Elkington.
Paige Elkington. She's super funny, and she's a good actress, and a good person.
Like that dialogue just seemed so kind of like loose and natural.
Yeah. So these films.
Did you rehearse that, or how did that?
I think
work?
we rehearsed it a little bit. Like all those dates were like kind of like I knew who I wanted to be in the scenes, so then I kind of like just was like got to make sure. So you do kind of like an audition rehearsal. And you're like, yeah, this person's great. Look, these like I said,
because like I'm just saying,
like, no
like,
budget,
all the
no
little
time.
like all the little jokes you saying to them and everything just seems so kind of like off the cuff or something. I was just wondering how prepared
Spree,
you were for those.
Unlike Spree, Wobble Palace, and Wonderful Cloud are films that have blueprint scripts, I call them. So like basically 30 pages, I'll write out like what the story is, kind of like a treatment. And in there, if there's a line of dialogue that comes to me, I'll write the dialogue, or like I know like what the end game of each scene is, so the actors know. And then you just try to cast people who are like smart and easy to talk to, and who you have relationships with, and you think are, you know, you can tell when someone is going to be camera shy or camera ready, you know, and you just pick those camera ready people, and you just do it. You know, that's kind of...
Oh, that's cool. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Because, like...
Look, I think the failure ratio on those things is... I don't recommend everybody do it like that, but I just got lucky that I feel... I'm not saying those movies are fucking awesome or anything, but they're watchable, which I think is really rare for, like, improvised movies.
Yeah. So it's an improvised...
just highly
blueprint. Are there any big movies that are blueprint movies like that? They're probably not
there
gonna
was
let
like
that
a
fly with
there
a
was
big
Curb Your
budget.
Enthusiasm.
It's
not
really
a movie,
hard. Yeah, but
I mean,
Curb is like that.
not a
And there's
movie,
like there's like an era of like Steven Soderbergh movies that are kind of like that. And like,
aren't Cassavetes films kind of like that?
yeah, but he said that, you know, he said he scripted everything.
Really?
Who knows?
I mean, that's so hard to believe.
I find it hard
Afterwards,
to
he scripted it out.
Yeah,
Afterwards, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Mike Lee, for instance, the British filmmaker, he actually works with the actors for months ahead of time before they start filming, improvising all the scenes with no real script. And then he records all that and then writes a script based on improvs. But then when they get to set, they're not improvising.
So then who wrote the movie?
Him and the actors. I guess he gives himself credit. Nah, just him. Written and directed by Mike Lee.
I like his movies.
I love his movies. Yeah, he's great. I mean, all the people we named are really good. Like, I would recommend anyone listening to seek out Steven Soderbergh's Full Frontal, one of the best like satires of like struggling Hollywood energy people, made right after he made fucking like Traffic and Aaron Brockovich and all these Oscar films. He made like this like satire of like LA life and Hollywood life.
I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah, Full Frontal. It's a pretty awesome.
What was the so was Wobble Palace zero budget as well?
No, so those movies, Wobble cost like $80K.
Oh, okay.
And then a Wonderful Cloud cost like 70.
Are you allowed to say the budget for Spree?
Yeah, it was like $1.5 million.
Yeah.
So obviously
that
how
was
did
a
you work
bigger
your way
step
up
up. Yeah, that was a
to
big
these,
step up
millions?
from these other.
Well, it took us, Gene, my co-writer, and I, his name is Gene, like almost 3 years to write the script. And then because Wobble and Wonderful Cloud had played at South by, I got an agent and they played in New York, LA. They got like reviewed and stuff. I got an agent from that, and then my agent helped me take Spree around. We went to like 50 companies. They were all like,
with the script?
Yeah, with the script. Like, and the deck. I made a video, like a teaser and a deck and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, this is really good. You know, you meet like the junior execs or something. They're like, this is really good. And then they call you. They're like, oh, like I couldn't convince like my boss to like it.
I've never heard that
before. They're like, we're really divided here at the company. Like, you know,
was
like,
it part of your presentation to show the graphical interface and stuff, and show that those elements would be involved?
I showed them like my other films. The first real visual proof I had for like how Spree was gonna work actually was like into pre-production. I didn't really like do that for the pitching process. Anyway, so we got passed by a zillion people, and then just got extremely lucky that like a totally angelic person who had never been involved in films decided to get involved in films, and now someone I work with really closely, this company called Spacemaker, and he just immediately got the script and liked Wobble Palace and was like, let's do this. And then a little trick, even when you're making your tiny movies, a little trick for all the filmmakers trying to make movies out there. Whatever you think the budget is,
double it.
Double it. Exactly. When you're asking for money. When you're asking for money. Because the person who's going to give you money is only going to give you half of what you ask for. That literally is like a formula that, for whatever reason, has always come true for me. even back to Feast of Burden and stuff. So, which is a web series that I made, blah, blah. And so that's a real like fucking like hack, what they call a movie hack. And anyway, so he came on board. And then the problem was that I was scared to produce the film myself because, there's like a fucking chase on the freeway and like trained dogs and like
there's a big crash scene.
Big crash. And I was like, I can't do this because all I've done is like, fucking suck movies with my little buddies. So I was like, I written my budget out before I went for the first money, and then I got like some really good, awesome, amazing producers involved to help me produce the film. They're like, actually, the budget is double like what you thought it would be. So I was like, fuck, but I already got the money to make it look on back envelope my budget. Anyway, so then we're like, okay, we have to get more money. And then luckily, so earlier I was kind of speaking disparagingly about like the junior execs or the execs of the company who like really like your movies, but like they can't do anything about it and it feels like bullshit. But like maybe it's not, because I had some meetings with some execs who left a company, and that was their line on me. And then they left the company. They formed their own company. They're like, okay, we're on our own now, and we really want to make your movie as our first movie. And I was like, cool, well, I have some money, but I need some more. And they had a first look deal with Drake. And so that is how Drake and his company Dream Crew came on as the other producers.
You got Drake on this thing?
Yeah, Drake is a producer. I'm actually making a bunch of Drake memes now because I'm doing a retrospect. They're showing Spree and Wobble Palace and Zeros and Ones and We Are, which is the other movie I made, in Toronto at the end of the month. So I'm making all these Drake memes because he's from Toronto. And obviously...
Wait, they're showing them in Toronto?
Yeah, there's a retrospective of my movies that I'm going to in Toronto, November 26th and 27th. So if you guys have any Canadian fans, please come out.
We got Canucks up there?
Yeah, Canucks. That's actually what my Drake thing is. Here, I'll show you. It's like, that Drake meme that went around a few weeks ago where it's like Drake the sort of guy who, and it's just like making fun of like him.
I only know this one.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the old Drake meme where he's like, holding like from Hotline Bling. There's a new one where it's like Drake the sort of guy who does this, and then they kind of make fun of how he's soft. So mine is Drake the sort of Canuck.
Okay.
So yeah, so my whole that must sound so funny to people listening.
How did you get these stars in this movie?
So unlike my other
Drake
film,
called him.
Yeah, unlike my other film, Drake gave him a call.
Drake banged your line.
Hey guys, at Hotline Bling. We just had a casting director. So I never worked with a casting director before, but it's like integral to
before it was all just personal relationships, and now
before it was just me kind of reaching out to people that I was
weird
friends
then
with or
to
who
work
I thought
with all
were
these
cool.
people who didn't
I was scared.
that you didn't know.
I was scared because of the nature of the previous films were so improvisatory that I was like, oh fuck, like David Arquette or like Joe Keery or Sashir Zameda, Misha Barton. I was like, what if they're not like funny in the way that like I think my friends are funny? Or what if they like need more from me? Or what if they don't like the way that I work, which is, even though it was all scripted, I really encourage actors to improvise. And they were all awesome. I was like, no wonder they're fucking like professional, successful like actors, because they're really fucking funny and smart and good at this. And so like Joe Keery is the greatest improviser I've ever worked with, like for sure. Way better than me, or he is a genius, and a really good actor in general, but just the stuff he would come up with as Kurt in character is just joyful for me to watch in the moment, and then to edit. It was like hard to edit because there's so much good stuff he was doing. You know how like funny, like when you're working with like actually hilarious people, it's hard to edit out the good shit. Yeah. And David Arquette is amazing, and Sashir Zameda, who was on SNL and is a great comedian, and Misha Barton, everybody. And actually, who's really good was Lala Kent and Frankie Grande, who are also in the car with Misha Barton, because they come
those like party people in the back?
because they come from reality television. So those are some of the greatest improvers in the fucking world, reality TV people, and they cracked me up so hard, honestly. Frankie and Lala,
so when you in your previous films, you probably it's easier to, I don't know, get certain nuances from actors because you knew them, and you can maybe even give them line read sometimes.
I never do that.
You never do that. All right.
No.
You never do a line read.
I don't like to. No.
And okay, but
what if they're giving you poop?
What if
that means the lines are wrong? That means like I just don't. Maybe
I'm just kidding.
Maybe one.
You just have it. You just have the right people and you set it up.
No, but I mean it's like I actually like on a weird like kind of respect level think it's weird to be like do it like this. Unless if someone says to me, can you do it for me? I will. But I don't ever like, even though I'm only trying to do like super fast takes, like let's do it in and out, blah, blah, blah. I just think that's kind of like a lazy shortcut. And if the line isn't coming off the way you hear it in your head or like the perfect version of it, that means the line's wrong. Like wrong to the character or wrong to the scene. And so we'll just think of a better line.
Well, but maybe your way of communicating what you want, it's easier because, or maybe you have more liberty with people you know better, but then these people that you didn't know, you never ran into that issue where you found it, there were certain parts where you felt a little bit of a challenge of how can I say this in a way and I don't know this person that well.
On day one, which was a really complicated day, like I said, it was the comedy club scene. I was really nervous. It's like also super ambitious, like Sashir doing like basically like 10 pages of script, and she was like, I'm gonna do it all like uninterrupted, because she's a comedian, but she does like 10-minute sets, 20-minute sets. She knows how to do it. So like, this is awesome. I'm so glad we cast a pro comedian to do it. And she was killing it. She was nailing it. But the choreography of that scene is very complex with all the different cameras and stuff. So I did have to be like, hey, like, I know you want to do this uninterrupted. We have 3 really good takes. Now we have to like literally break it down. And I didn't know. I mean, she gets it. She's a professional. I don't know. You just first day, I was just nervous. But in general, like, I'm bald. You know what I mean? So like, what I mean by that is like, even though I'm like kind of inexperienced with, super professional actors or whatever, I can go up to like a really veteran, seasoned person like David Arquette or Misha Barton and be like, hey, like, what if we do it this way? And they don't think I'm like some stupid little punk because I'm bald. They'll be like, oh, he's bald advantage. He's lived a little.
That's funny. Okay.
You have bald privilege.
I thought you said,
I have bald privilege. Exactly.
When you said bald, I thought, wait, did he say bold or bald?
No, I said bald.
Because I thought, oh, his boldness.
So you use that for your advantage. That's cool.
I don't know. I was just like, you can't be nervous because like,
that's funny.
You can't be nervous or you can't be like wary because like, you just have one shot, Like every time you make a movie, you're just like, I'm running out, or like literally day 0, you're like, I'm running out of time, So you just have to kind of go for it, and hopefully you're not like an asshole, and hopefully you're sensitive to the actor and the character and the scene, and you're just doing the thing. And everyone wants to make a good movie,
I got a question about the bald.
Yeah, go for it.
In Wobble Palace, you have really long hair. That was real, right?
That was real, and at a certain point in my life. So,
and you do the front bun?
I was doing that.
I tied it up as like. I mean, that's part of the story. Is like you're making this fake toupee thing.
There's it's exactly. It's a floating toupee.
But
thing.
It looked cool.
I wanted to kind of have a hairstyle, kind of like. My initial intention was kind of like a George Washington, Thomas Jefferson type like natural wig or something, which it did not become. But that was like something I was rocking very organically for like a year, and everyone said, "Yeah, you look super retarded." And I said, "Yeah, it's my vibe." And then I was like, I should get rid of this because it actually I like one day woke up and really saw what it looked like, when you have like that awakening. But then I was like, fuck, this is actually so funny. I need to put this in a movie. So it was actually one of the great impetuses for making that flick.
So you actually wore, you
actually
wore your hair like that for real.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And actually it's funny, there was an really cool guy, you maybe even know him, I'm not gonna name his name, but who invests in some movies. And he was like, I'll give you the money to make. At that point, I was like, can I have 100, and I'll get 50, and I could make Wobble for 50, and that's a little bit more. And I said, I'll give you 50, but you have to get rid of your hair. Like, you can't have this stupid haircut in the movie. I'm like, did you read the thing? Like, it's actually a big part of this character, and it reveals all of these sort of delusions and narcissism and just this break from self-image that this person is all about, and you need it. And then the hair cutting scene is also pretty funny and has some nice comedic payoff to it. And he's like, sorry, I'm not going to give you the money.
Who's the cash man?
He's a really cool guy.
A secret?
Yeah, it's secretly
after dark.
It's a kind of Canadian secret.
Okay.
If that makes sort of sense.
Sure.
It's actually this. No, it's actually
that he didn't.
It's actually a really good guy. His name is Chris Swanson. You know who that is?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like you're making a joke, and I'm supposed to understand what that is.
Oh no, that's his name. And he produced a movie that I think is really good called The Comedy if you know that
With
one.
Tim Heidecker?
Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
Yeah. And so, but really nicely, like a year later, he texted me.
Wait, so he said, you got to cut your hair? And then you're like, I'm going to anyway. Then he said, no more money.
No, he said, get rid of it in the first scene of the movie. And then
first
we
scene.
do it. Yeah.
Wait, what was he?
I don't
hated the hair?
Yeah, he just didn't like how it looked. He said it's off-putting, which I said that's part of the thing. Look, a lot of people say, if you read reviews of that movie, they're like, this Eugene character is really horrible. Like, I don't want to watch this. This is like the worst thing. It's like the worst person, the worst. Like, this is disgusting to look at. Actually, what's funny is, anyway, so he texted me a year later. So. He texted me a year later, and he said, I was totally wrong about the hair thing. It totally worked. And I said, that means a lot to me. I'm trying to make a movie called Spree right now. I need some money. You want to get in on it? He's like, nah, I'm good. But wait, one other thing that's funny is that when A Wonderful Cloud came out, we got a review on like NPR. And I was like super excited on the radio to hear it, and it was like, I don't know if you're listening to the movies, but there's like it's hosted by like a super old guy.
Oh, and those movie reviewers on Fridays.
Yeah, exactly.
They have the worst takes.
So
on movies.
and you guys didn't see it Wonderful Cloud, but it starts with me like a really disgusting sex scene, and like intentionally like kind of like gross. Like, can you imagine having sex with this man? Nothing's going on. It's just literally looking at I'm like looking directly at the camera while I'm like fucking someone off screen, and then the guy goes, it begins in this grotesque way where you cannot unsee the director having this intercourse. Because like I said, you can't unsee it. So look, people find me very distasteful, and I'm glad to not be in the movies anymore.
No, I think that's incorrect. I mean, those people, cannot trust those NPR people. One time I was listening to it. Usually I turn it off because I'm like, I don't want their opinion about movies I haven't seen. I would listen to it afterwards, but I haven't seen these
like
movies.
Rocky IV. Yeah.
But there was they were talking about some art film. I forgot what it was, and they were saying that they're all agreeing like this hits. This is hilarious comedy.
Yeah.
I go see it. It was like the most boring,
Can you tell me what it's called?
non-funny movie. I can't remember. It was sort of like a spoof. It was a spoof on like 007.
Oh, it was like a French thing or American?
Johnny English.
That's art.
Rowan Atkinson.
It was
Johnny
like
English. Exactly.
It was like it could have been foreign, but it was like it was sort of like a spy movie spoof. And it was like
super unfunny. For Spy Kids.
Just funny,
I think you were right first with Johnny English.
Funny for like academic people to like be like, look at that. It's very smart.
Yeah, I mean,
but it was not funny.
Here's how I think about movies and my responsibility. Like filmmakers actually have a responsibility to audiences. Let me just get on on my little soapbox.
Oh yeah, then we'll go after dark because we've gone an hour.
Let me just do one last soapbox thing for anyone listening out there. Like, it is the response. Movies are no longer dominant in our culture. They're no longer a thing you can assume anybody has seen or gives a shit about seeing. So it's actually the responsibility of narrative feature filmmakers to make the best, most entertaining possible movie that they can that never bores an audience and delivers things people want from films. Because every time someone watches a movie, especially like an art house movie or like some like pretentious movie, they're taking a chance on movies over video games, over series, over their phones, over fucking smartphones. So whenever I go see a movie that like is boring or just doesn't, it's like you have to work really hard to like enjoy. You're turning people away from like cinema in general.
Yeah.
And that makes me really sick, and that makes me really angry.
It makes me sick. It makes me want to barf.
Yeah, it makes me want to scream. Alex Jones style.
Dude,
makes me want to scream.
Movies are bad.
But
most movies are bad.
There's no leeway to make.
New movies are bad.
In 1995, there was leeway to make bad movies. In 1965, 1935, we don't have that leeway anymore. We can only make good things. And if you're making something that's super self-indulgent, pretentious bullshit, take it away, boys. Like, I don't want to.
It seems like there's more now than ever. Like whenever I go see even big budget movies,
I know they stinkeroo. That's why we have a crisis in cinema. But if you want to hear more, stick around.
It's our duty to have filmmakers like you out here.
Yeah, get me on the soapbox.
Shine the light.
Beautiful.
On the good stuff.
Thank you.
And the people who are nailing it.
Thank you so much.
And so, in conclusion,
yes, appreciate.
Where can people see? People can see Spree on Hulu.
People can see Spree on Hulu. They can find links to almost all my other movies on my website, which is everybodyloves.me.
Everyone loves
Everybody loves.me.
Wow, you are so
but like,
narcissistic, aren't you?
Wonderful Cloud is on Tubi. If anybody uses that service, I love Tubi.
See the ads for it on YouTube.
Yeah, Tubi, and then also
Wobble
Wobble's
Palace
on there too.
Wobble Palace is on Amazon Prime. So it's all free. And the movie We Are that I self-released in 2020, so I could say I made 2 movies in 2020, Spree and We Are. You know, when they look at the IMDb in 2045, they'll be like, this motherfucker made 2 movies during the coronavirus crisis?
That's an eye-popping DB.
During the crisis? The corona crisis?
Oh, was Spree shot during...
No, it was all... 2019 was Spree, and then 2017 we shot We Are, but I released them both in 2020 for the plebes,
smart.
you know? That's on weare.fyi. So you can watch that for free also. So they're all free. They're all out there.
And then do you want to plug anything else? Social medias, getting those DMs?
Yeah. At Mad About Huge. Please hit me up. Tell me how much you hated
Mad
me on
About
the show.
Huge?
Mad About
E-U-G?
Yeah.
E-U-G?
Yeah, exactly.
Heck yeah. Thanks, Eugene.
Thanks for having me.
Are we real friends now?
Nah, no. I mean, no.
Are we going to work towards it?
Yeah, like real friends is like either we would go see a movie, we would go have dinner or something.
Okay, but there's a chance?
Yeah, no, I want it to happen for sure.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I want to talk, because, well, we can talk about it after hours. We can get into the...
Well, the whole point of you coming out here is so we can maybe one day be friends.
Yeah, that's totally.
All right, let's go after dark.
Hey, thank you to Aaron Bruntgart for being behind the scenes.
Behind the boards.
Thank you to Chloe Bonilla, Jack Birch, and Jackie Montana for their help with the Poundcast releases every week.
And a shout out to our sponsors. We got LouisvilleVeganFoods.com. Check them out. Use the code word Poundcast for 20% off.
And Racket, Racket.com.
That's right, the new app. Which is maybe by the time this comes out, it's out.
What is Racket?
It's a shareable audio only. It's
audio bite. You can do
imagine like a social media app, but it's audio only.
So you have 99 seconds you could do some kind of audio.
That makes sense.
Bite.
99 seconds, but the app ain't one.
All my Zoomer buddies, they don't even write text anymore. They just talk. They just send audio. Send audio messages.
It's a way of doing that. So you could just do audio. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to interact with the Zoomers only, you got to get Racket.
Yeah, and if you want to listen to us keep talking to Huge, you got to go to patreon.com/Poundcast. See you there, or we'll see you next week.
I won't be here.
Peace. Maybe you will.